My name is Rob. As she had mentioned before, I'm the owner of the Edge of Reality VR Arcade right here in Marquette. And I was going to do all these wonderful technology things because this is the technology one, right? I had graphs and charts and I bored the crap out of myself. So I decided just to go back and tell my story, share a little bit about what I've learned, how things have gone while I've been in the community, the different pivots and directions we've traveled, and the different collaborations we've created out of thin air sometimes, it seemed like. So, in order to keep everything in order, make sure I touch on everything, I do have a script here for myself that I'll be looking down at as a security blanket and to help me through, make sure that I get all the stuff out there and done. But they are my stories. If you want more detail on any of them, I've got it here for you. So the misconception of technology started as, you know, it's a one-person startup. One person runs everything. One person does it all, but that really couldn't be further from the truth. The collaboration, the sharing of ideas, the many individuals, groups, and organizations that come together through all walks of life really brought my current business model to fruition. Today, we'll be talking about some of those collaborations in the journey of this wonderful technology-based business. Now, a little bit of background on me. Theater is my passion. I traveled the country doing theater. I was traveling the country doing theater when I got into this. I love it. It creates challenges of its own sometimes, but that's how I got here. What do you mean you got here by doing theater? Well, when I was traveling, I was doing voiceovers, commercials, stage work, tech work, things like that, but I based myself in here in Marquette, and I traveled out as needed. I had just completed a run in Chicago. I had another one coming up in Detroit in about a month, so I was back here, and I was talking to a friend of mine, Dr. Jeff Nyquist, over dinner at his house. And he showed me this brand new technology, virtual reality. He was super excited about it, put me in a headset, and I rode a roller coaster through his bedroom. It was cool. I was interested in it, and I thought it was neat. I didn't understand the practical applications or how it could be used at that point. So he told me he had an idea to create this all-new product to increase visual acuity, hand-eye coordination in an effort to rewrite and create brand new neural pathways. He created this in an effort to help people with ADD, ADHD, TBI, concussion recovery, concussion therapy and recognition, cognitive repair, and to offset cognitive decline. It was to provide an unconventional tool paired with new technology to help people live their best lives. I may have forgot to mention that he was a cognitive neuroscientist, and a lot of this was over my head at the time, too. I know I threw a lot of technical terms and jargon out there. It really isn't important to the story. It was also over my head at that time. But what a noble goal, right? To get people to live their best lives. So I wanted to help, and I wanted to learn more, and I had the time. Jeff had already been working with programmers to build out the program he created called NeuroTrainer. I became the voice actor for this newly envisioned virtual reality program. We spent time with the program, hours and hours learning how it works, what audio instructions may be needed, what the tone and goal of the character I was creating might be, what best fits where, how to smooth out transitions, naturalize dialogue, and make things user-friendly. We spent hours together in the office and in the studio. A local production studio worked with us to help record the audio, send it off to the programming team to be inserted into this cognitive program. Thank you, Yellow Dog. Appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. I was really excited and still very, very hungry for more. Fascinated by this idea, I offered to help with this startup between my acting jobs. And by the time the audio was done, Jeff already had some wonderful things in place. He had established a base of operations, complete with a neuro gym, a therapy room, an excellent concept. No customers yet, not sure of the focused target user, and not sure the best way to generate leads, but we had advantages. The office location and build was complete. A working version of the program was in hand. Dr. Nyquist used field-proven techniques based on his and others' research with the best of the neuroscience's greatest hits and this amazing new technology that allowed for better implementation of those proven techniques. Jeff had data and experience from college working with legally blind children to increase their visual acuities and visual abilities. He also had health and medical contacts in the area with strong drive to succeed. He took a leap of faith. He gave up his lucrative career to pursue this passion. Now he just had to sell it. We called so many people in the beginning. We were talking to experts, industry leaders trying to pitch this product. Constant phone calls, email messages. any collaborator we could find, we wanted to work with all over the world. And Jeff tried working with local doctors, but he met with some resistance. Most people wanted proof of concept before supporting or implementing anything new into their programs. Proof of concept was there, but not with this new technology to help do the job. Our first clients and users were people, experts, industry leaders that we knew. People that was word of mouth. People who said, hey, I have this issue, can your product help with that? Or I want to work on this, can you help? Jeff tweaked the products, made things work, did the best we could to meet with all of those people and to work with all the local doctors with this new data we were collecting. Well, we ended up focusing on migraines, ADD, ADHD, visual acuity. Our clients were showing measurable improvement. It was determined that a lot of people could benefit from this product and from the software, not just with the medical conditions, but in other things, in other walks of life as well. We started working with young athletes and added a professional hockey player to our team with excellent results in cognitive improvement. What does that mean? Well, using this program, he was able to increase the speed of his visual acuity and decision-making abilities by 1/4 of a second off the boards. 1/4 of a second, I'm sure doesn't sound like much. It didn't sound like a whole lot to me, but when you're an elite and you're playing with the best in the world, 1/4 of a second can make all the difference in that single decision. We started working with NMU and NMU Sports and Medicine after that. Athletic directors and coaches were part of our daily communications, providing options for brain training, concussion recognition, recovery. It was a very hot topic at that time. The goal was to create a measurable baseline of individual athletes to quickly recognize and either get the player back on the field or help the player recover after concussions. Volunteers and interns were added to the team. Their main role was to document and compile all data. A nursing student was brought on board to help collect vitals, from heart levels to O2 sensors, and even the general feelings of our clients before and after the session. Everything was recorded to try and collect as much as we could. What we quickly learned was that people who were more relaxed before a session performed better during the session themselves and reaped more benefits. Well, the next question became, how do we make people more relaxed? We started contacting local health professionals and wellness providers to find out how we could work together, how their tools could help us in our work. We talked with massage therapists, acupuncturists, physical therapists, yoga instructors, anyone we could think of that had any ideas to help provide relaxation. At one point, we were in serious talks with a small group of people in this area that wanted to create a local health collective. We were going to be a bunch of people with a singular goal in mind, helping people live their best lives and getting as healthy as we could. We worked for a long time on that. The idea never came to fruition. We weren't able to do that. Clients, forgive me, please. We weren't able to make that come to fruition. We discovered that audio-guided meditations, however, would fit very well within our program. It fit well with what we offered. Clients could listen to these guided meditations that we created while inside the headset, relaxing at a vacation or destination of their choice. I could put you on the cliffs of Dover and help you with sleep issues. I could send you on a trip to space and have you float around in space while you worked on your own anxiety or ADD or ADHD. It opened up so many more possibilities for us. But we still had challenges. Where do we get all this content? Content creators started coming to us. We started working with them to build out these locations, to make these things that work inside VR, from beach, like I said, to floating in outer space. And we added those guided meditations and those pieces of art to our form to help our clients relax. With the guided meditations in VR, the client could more easily transition from the relaxation inside the VR to the brain training inside the VR, and they never had to take off the headset. Jeff kept searching out new options. The more knowledge you have, the better off you are. He preferred non-invasive, cutting-edge technology. His research led to a device called the Fisher-Wallace device. This device claimed to help with anxiety, depression, ADD, ADHD, sleep issues, exactly the same things we were working on, by stimulating the trigeminal nerve. This company was incredibly helpful and supportive. Jeff had many conversations with the creator and his team. The device had excellent support data, was being used around the world with these proven results. Well, I started using it. It was being used in therapy sessions, in doctor's offices. They sent us a device to help us support the project. I would go in early in the mornings. I would use the project in the morning to help me throughout my day. I would bring the product home at night and use it before sleep, because I'm not going to use anything on anybody else that I haven't tried myself. So I wanted to make sure that it worked for me. It did work for some people. It did work on some things for me. It helped me a whole lot with sleep. It did help bring me down, calm me out. It helped me focus when I first started the day. It was great. But there was a little problem with it. The product looked really intimidating. It was Frankenstein-esque to some people. It just wasn't received well. It was two wet sponges that attached to your temples with wired leads down to an electronic device that sent small shock impulses to your head. Everybody's heard of shock therapy. That's what people thought it was. You don't feel the shocks, you don't feel those impulses, but the stigma was already there, right? We already had the idea that, oh my God, what am I doing to myself and what is this working for? It seems so archaic. Everybody was talking about the shock therapy. You don't feel the pulse. But again, we couldn't get rid of that stigma. So Jeff said we needed something sexier. Now, to him, what that meant was something higher tech, something newer, something sleeker, something that people could relate to more. In the path of research, he discovered another brand new company. The company was called Think. They'd offered a unique high-tech product that had claims of non-invasive trigeminal nerve stimulation to help clients with migraines, focus issues, ADD, ADHD, anxiety. This device was sleek, it was small, it had multiple user settings, and the user could control it right there with their smartphone. External stimulation of the trigeminal nerve to relax users before training sessions. We were able to provide that company with data to help its growth, and they provided us with a powerful new tool to add to a VR program. We were talking daily with national thought leaders, and we started working with industry-leading ophthalmologists, flying them into Marquette to show them what the company and what the products can do, tweaking the program to fit their individual and their client needs, helping with vision loss, vision therapies. The program and hardware was given to those leaders and those clients, working very closely with us to help us collect and gain more and more data. Daily phone calls of successes and challenges, ideas to make the product better, calls to find out what we could do to get the program to turn on and work properly. All these little things made the product better, got our focus down to a clearer path, and help us get to where we are today. We were inviting nurses in, doctors, physical therapists, all in for free demonstrations. Some gave their patients our information. Their patients were coming in. Doctors even gave some people referrals with problems they couldn't help with. Constant migraine issues, ADD issues that people didn't want to take medication for. This was an alternative to that. Well, in doing that, we met a lot of people, and a lot of people got to see success in our tools in action. A lot of people offered their opinions and how we could make things better and make things greater. And a lot of people just wasted a whole lot of our time. A lot of people thought they knew better but didn't actually know what we were doing or what we were trying to accomplish at all. Our patients were starting paying out of pocket. We weren't with the insurance companies yet. It really limited our access to all the different people we thought we could help and all the different people we could provide services for. More daily phone calls, emails, meetings, ideas to set up insurance companies were frustrating to say the least. If you've ever had to work with an insurance company on your own, just to get your coverage, try doing it to get coverage for everybody. Try to get your device approved. It was a huge challenge. We were able to get auto insurance companies on board, concussion recovery. So now we had a few clients trickling in, working on concussion recovery, working on accident rehabilitation. And that was great. But we had problems with some of the main insurances. Even with the support of doctors and scientists, that main insurance companies were just such a huge pain. After almost 1 year of trying with them, working our way up the ladder, getting verbal approvals, verbal cues, all these things we were told that are going to be great, and we were there, and then we'd be shut down because they would change jobs, we'd have to start over working with somebody else, and we just never got anywhere. Their main complaint, the main thing that they said why we couldn't get insurance coverage for this was because they required 5 years of data. The equipment hadn't been around for 5 years, and it's constantly changing. Every couple of months, a new headset comes out. 4 came out in October. 4 new headsets. How do I get 5 years of data off 4 headsets that just came out a month ago? It was incredibly challenging. So while we were trying to generate income while waiting for this insurance approval, we were going door to door, knocking on people's doors and trying to explain to them what we offered. We ended up creating a spa for relaxation. We combined several techniques to help clients with a variety of different issues. We continued the process of attempting that insurance approval. Jeff worked closely with doctors and started getting professional sports teams interested in some of the things that we were able to do. Dividing attentions now between the sports and the medical world, we worked with the local high schools, athletic clubs, offering high-end sports training with very few people taking advantage. We contacted every sports organization we could find. We did middle schools, high schools, every trainer we could find in the UP. And when we didn't get anything from that, we went to all of Michigan. And when we didn't have much there, we went to Michigan and Wisconsin. I was on the phone constantly for hours every day trying to get a hold of anybody I could just to listen to what we had to offer, give them our products so that they could see how they work and work that out. But we just didn't have many takers. There was lots of interest, but no real traction, nothing to help the business grow. And then we paired with a local gym owner right here in Marquette. He was going to help his clients with focus and training. Build the mind with the body. That's the best way to do any kind of training. So he incorporated our system, we set it up, and we were running a training area inside of his gym. Paying clients were still far and few between. After only a couple of months, the gym chose to end our relationship and use that space for something else. We tried exercise programs. We actually bought a bicycle that was created by another new company to run in VR. This bicycle I thought was really cool. You could ride in the Tour de France. You could pedal hard enough to fly a unicorn up into space. You could pedal hard enough to drive a submarine underwater. But everybody still saw it as exercise, and they didn't want to come in to exercise. They wanted to come in to relax. They wanted to come in to see new things. They wanted to come in and game, to play. We were building and testing equipment and shipping it out all over the country at this point. One in California, one in Oregon, 2 in New York. It just wasn't sustainable. We just couldn't help ourselves grow enough. And on occasion, people would stop into our medical office and ask about this new VR hardware that they were hearing about. And then they'd ask if we'd offer gaming. At that time we didn't. It was only Jeff and I trying to cool down after a session or whatever. We'd get in there and shoot each other a little bit, and that was about it. And we weren't opposed, though, to trying something new. Maybe this was a new path. Maybe this was a way to generate income while we're waiting for the other stuff to gain foothold. Around that same time, Marquette Senior High School was asking questions about the VR hardware. What they might be able to use it for, how it could help their students, what educational programs might be available. We met weekly, working with the students, working with the teachers to help them learn about this VR hardware, and ultimately build a VR learning space at MSHS, which they did. Then their students and their teachers came with us, and they helped us build a VR arcade for gamers, which we did. Operating an all-new branch of this company now had us seeking out and working with a few other location-based virtual reality centers around the world. There weren't a lot of us, so we were all talking together, trying to figure out what the best way was to advertise. How do you show people what's inside the headset without putting them inside the headset? People thought they knew. We had one of our meetings with these people. I had a gentleman in California, a gentleman in Canada, and I had a gentleman in Italy, and we were all in the space station in VR, having a meeting together. I could call them over to my computer and point to what I was working on. Then they could call me over to theirs and I can go look at theirs. Cheesy avatars, not a lot there, but the ability to meet with people around the globe with a device that we believe is going to gain traction. Well, some of the people that we found were very, very helpful. We all had very common goals. One of our earliest contracts, which later became a company called Springboard VR, they were trying to solve their technical issues, their software issues. They gave us this software that they created for their own arcade that they ran to make customer interactions smoother. We were all having problems with streamlining the process with customers. It was really rough around the edges at first. There were a slew of problems. It was multiple daily phone calls, working together saying, hey man, this isn't working. A customer tried to do this and couldn't. Maybe we could add this. Maybe we could tweak that. Maybe we could go this direction. What are the limitations? Where can we go? We worked on that for months. It was really rough, but we were able to share our hardware solutions and some of the different customers that we were working with those groups, giving them additional revenue streams, giving them additional ideas to bring in money. As the number of location-based virtual reality centers started to grow, their company changed focus. They went from a gaming center arcade to developers of launching software that gave all arcade owners around the world more control outside of the headset. When we first opened up and we first started up, we were using salon software that was Frankensteined into something kind of strange in order to launch games and try and make things work. But working with this company and them sharing that product with us smoothed out that issue for everyone, not just themselves. We had more control over the equipment. We now had more control over the content, and that allowed for a much better, much smoother customer experience. We were advertising everywhere that we could. We advertised on radio. We advertised on television. Every radio station in town were running our ads. We had print everywhere. We were putting up signs to get people's attention. We still weren't gaining a whole lot of traction. So we thought, well, what is our market? Who are we really trying to focus on? The arcade side. Where do we go? Figure college students, right? Big gamers. They all have systems at home. They're going to have their PlayStations and their Xboxes and everything else. I had one. I get it. You know, everybody was doing that. So I went to every single door in the dorms. All the dorms slid discount cards under the dorm doors. Then I went to the festivals in the fall, set up a booth outside, did live free demonstrations. Went to overnight at the Dome, did demonstrations there, talked to RAs, brought RAs in, showed them what we had, offered to set it up at their location, do a couple hours free just to get their students interested. Nobody took advantage. We got nothing back from that. All those hours, all those things that we tried, and 2 people brought discount cards back in. It really wasn't helping us. So then, what do we do? Well, at least the locals started hearing about us, all right, because we're advertising everywhere, we're doing our thing. They started wondering about some of those other unique programs we offered, the medical side, the brain training. A few people were trickling in, but it really wasn't enough to support either side of the business. Most people still didn't understand at that point how VR worked. They didn't know what its capabilities were. Some people were convinced that they would get sick because they put on stuff like that before, or that they can't do techie stuff, or that they're too old for that, or, oh, I don't play games. People said they saw it on YouTube, so they knew exactly what it was, and they don't need to do it now because they saw it there. It is not the same. It is a completely different experience. But we were having trouble getting that point across to those customers. The only way to help people understand was to get them in that headset. We ended up bringing in a large group of influential VA and hospice nurses to see what we could offer their clients. Working closely with the nurses, we started offering VR therapy, guided meditations, bucket list trips, escapism options for all of those in need. Many of the clients were excited for anything different. Their families were a bit more of a challenge in the beginning. They had the best intentions in mind. They wanted to take care of their loved ones and make sure that they were okay. The problem was I would put one of their loved ones in a headset, and immediately the family would gather around them and say, do you need to stop, Dad? We can stop this. Are you sick? Are you going to be okay? You need to. I think he wants to stop. We should pull him out. They just wouldn't let us do our job. So then we had to change. Now when we went in and families were there, we put the families in the headsets first. Get the families excited before we put the clients in, so they knew what was going on. They knew what they were going to expect. Many patients would thank me for the opportunity to get out of their bed or out of the room. Many of those people haven't left their bed in months and would never leave it again. The loved ones were watching what we did for them on the screen. And my first elderly client, the very first one that I got to work with, was actually brought into our office in a wheelchair by his adult daughter. She claimed that he was unable to speak, that he was barely able to move. He answered my yes or no questions with a gentle slight nod or shake of the head. And working with him and his daughter, we discovered that he wanted to go back to his home in Italy, where he grew up, that he would never get to go to again. I was able to find an image of the street he grew up on with a camera shot for a balcony overlooking the area. We put the headset on. He started to cry. His daughter misinterpreted the action like most do and asked us to stop. Dad, do you want to stop? We need to stop. Are you okay? And for the first time I heard him speak, he went, no. She goes, no what, Dad? No. Do you want to stop? No. Very clear. A tear running down his cheek. His daughter was now weepy. I was getting weepy. We were helping this man experience something that he thought he would never be able to again. After the session, the daughter couldn't stop thanking us. As she wheeled him to the car, it was misting out. She came back in to get me. She said he would not get into the car until he talked to me. Okay, great. So I walk out, I'm in the mist, he's in his wheelchair outside the van, and he tilts his head up and he looks at me, and he raises his shaky hand and shakes my hand and says, thank you. That's helping people live their best lives. That's giving back to the community. That's what fills my heart. That's what makes me feel good about doing the things that I do. A few of the people started coming into our office as a curiosity. They were asking to try the different equipment, learn more about it. People were still hesitant to put the headset on, and many more were still really struggling to understand what VR is. More they thought they knew. It was near impossible to get people to understand this new technology. We had to get them into a headset. We worked with several companies along the way. We worked with Great Lakes Recovery. We helped them facilitate client interactions with a headset. They were able to work with counselors, teach new coping mechanisms, new techniques, do guided meditations to help them learn new skills that they could use and adapt. We worked with a company from Wisconsin that was a tunnel exploration and repair company. They would send robotic cameras through pipes, through city sewer systems and piping systems, all the infrastructure, and look for damage. They had carried this giant battery backpack on their back with hard drives in it, and they'd walk around with their laptop, and they could walk down the street, point at a spot on the ground, and you go, see that right there? Yeah, on the top part of that, there's a crack. You can see where the crack is. We don't have to fix that yet, but we need to keep an eye on that for the next year. But over there, walk with me, come over here and we have to repair it. These clients understood basically what they were talking about, but they still didn't quite get it. So he rented out the entire arcade for the entire day, had his clients come in, and they were able to look around as if they were inside the tunnel and finally understand what this company was able to do for them and what this company was able to help with. Everyone who came in was incredibly impressed. A lot of them just wanted a game. So after they learned what it was about, we threw them into all kinds of games. We were shooting stuff, we were exploring different worlds, we were doing all kinds of neat stuff. And that was a lot of fun. So we ended up talking to a local artist, Elizabeth Howe. Some of you may know her, a painter, wonderful person, great to get along with. We wanted her to help us paint a logo, and we would trade our services for hers. So the artistic collaboration blossomed into something called art in an ulterior medium. What does that mean? She spent hours with our equipment, testing programs, working on our curriculum. She created a class to teach children how to paint and create art digitally in a three-dimensional medium. We supplied the hardware, software in the classroom. She supplied their students with a unique way to express themselves, a new way to create art, and a new way to explore the properties of digital creation. From highlight and shadow to lighting perspective, her talents combined very, very well with our equipment. She had a student who built an entire first floor of the hotel, complete with doorknobs on the doors, rooms that open, a phone on the main desk, a thing of flowers, a pencil that are rolled off onto the floor. The detail was incredible, and anyone could put on a VR headset and walk through her creation. They could move through it. Another one of her students created this dragon that was in outer space. Stars all around it, breathing fire. You could put on a headset, anybody could, and walk around this dragon that she created, this room-sized dragon, and see the detail of the musculature, the scales, the smoke wisping off the flames as they came out of his mouth, as if you were standing in a room with a highly detailed sculpture. It's like you were there. She helped them create that. She brought people out of their comfort zone, gave them a digital brush, and they created all of this with hand strokes that are never seen really in the real world. Something that doesn't exist. But But they had this huge advantage of an oversight with a painter who had talent, who had skill, and she was willing to expand her own mix of talents to share new things with our community. So at this time in the business, Jeff was offered an incredible opportunity. He was offered to move the medical and sports side of his projects to California with much better funding, financial support, a diverse team of people who would help his program grow. We were slowly gaining traction here in Marquette, but we really were barely making rent. When Jeff left for greener pastures, he offered me an opportunity. I chose to purchase the equipment and take over the arcade side of the business and keep it here in Marquette. I worked closely with the SBA, the Small Business Administration, to get the proper paperwork done and tools in place to open fresh. I continued work with existing medical clients, but with no medical degree, I didn't feel right adding any new ones. Not something I would do. I'd administer them, but I'm not going to diagnose or try and treat something I don't understand. We were struggling to get people to understand what VR was still. We opened as one of the first 20 VR arcades in the country. I continued my work in hospice in the mornings, ran the VR arcade in the afternoons, and did voiceover work in the evenings in order to make my bills and make everything work. We were struggling. Wasn't sure if we're going to make it. Then a marketing professor heard about this new technology that we were working on. The professor from NMU reached out. We talked about the unique challenges this new type of business was facing. We worked with a small team of marketing students from her class, and she created a class project to help discover the best course of actions and to get people to try this stuff. We had tried everything. We were trying virtual vacations. We were working on haunted experiences. We were doing art, escapism. We still had trouble marketing it. They came up with an idea. We'll do a virtual vacation. It's December, wintertime, plenty of snow here. The idea is to get people out of the snow, get them out of Marquette, go someplace warm and explore someplace new. So we did half-hour virtual vacations, $10. Nobody. 3 months. Nobody came in to take advantage of that. Why? Still not sure. I guess they still didn't understand what VR was about. So other than our hospice clients, which of course have a very high turnover rate, curious tourists were the next real stream of revenue that allowed for some stability. Tourists wanting something unique, a memory of sharing experience together. We had families coming in now. Elderly, bucket list people were coming in and laughing, exploring the equipment. We had gamers. We had kids who didn't want to go on hikes with their parents and spend time outside coming in. And then we had the parents coming in for date nights and things, leaving the kids at home. Things were really picking up. We worked with high school, college, all kinds of extracurricular programs. We were doing birthday and family parties, work parties, team building exercises. We worked with local groups, organizations like the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, hospice clients, veterans, artists, programmers, and so many more. Our business was getting noticed. We were starting to grow. We had regulars. And then COVID. Everybody knows there's challenges there. We had ours as well. We're now down to a team of 2, myself and my manager. Hospice and medical went away completely. We were considered non-essential users. Non-essential to patient care mean we no longer had access to the patients. Slowly, many of my arcade contacts stopped joining meetings. With over half of the location-based virtual reality centers in the US closed, we were one of the lucky ones. And that gentleman Thayer who stayed with me, why one employee, manager, an amazing individual, worked with me and took a few months off to help with cash flow to let the business survive. He took another job and then quit that job when we opened back up to help. He asked for 3 months off this summer so he could go work with kids. Absolutely. When he was done, he came back again. And that's when we started to grow. So he's back. What do we do now? We talked about it a lot. The only thing we can do, adjust and grow. Really not too much to change. We're still trying to get people in the door. So what do? We added additional cleaning measures like everybody else, the masks and the protocols and all that fun stuff. But other than wiping down our headsets with a Clorox wipe, we really couldn't think of other things to do. So I'm talking to all my arcade people and we weren't coming up with options. Then I remembered something. a few years ago I was working in a scene shop, a theater construction area. And at the end of each day, we'd take our safety glasses and we'd throw them in this box. And this light box would hit with UV light and with oxygen radiation, and it would clean and sterilize the equipment. I called my friends, learned about this stuff, my friends who were still techies in the theater world. I did a bunch of research online, and then I built my own. It was a shoebox with a folding top that had this weird wand on top of it. But we made it work. And once we knew it worked, we went bigger. Still, nobody was creating anything like this yet. I mean, people were creating it for phones now. You could buy a phone, a little one, or you could buy the giant cabinets for thousands of dollars to do your goggles and to do larger equipment. But nobody had one that would really fit a head-size headset and equipment to get those things sterilized. So I went on Amazon and I was researching all kinds of boxes, trying to find the best thing I could to Frankenstein one together. I found this company who produced the lights that did the sterilization. We talked with them, we found the best ones that we could find, and they were proven technologies. It was proven that their company produced the right spectrum of light to sterilize. We ordered those lights. I ordered 6 boxes that were designed for Christmas bulbs because they were the right size, and made those boxes, put a light in it, built a handle on it, and created another safety measure. A way to keep our clients safe. Now using Clorox wipes and this disinfecting light box, nothing was going to get from our previous clients to our next clients. We knew it, we were confident in that, we were comfortable with it. We started sharing that information with our customers. Commercial sales, built one out of a shoebox. I started also sharing this idea with the other arcades around. The UVC light. Some of them said, yeah, we looked into it, we can't afford it. The cages are huge, and we just can't afford to do that. We'd have to move our headsets every single time. They were all cabled at that time. Most of them still were anyway in the arcade world. So I gave them this idea, shared with them what I did, shared with them the companies that I worked with, and they taught me new procedures, new advertising tricks, and so much more. So with our skeleton team of 2, we're ready, and where do we start? Well, right back to the basics, right? Our goal is to create a unique opportunity paired with new technology to help people live their best lives. The arcade is again open. Families and tourists are coming in again. New people in the hospice community have started reaching out and asking what we offer and what we can do for them. We're starting to work with nurses, therapists, patients, students, and the community. We're discovering new ways for people to relax, escape, learn, explore, and grow. The best thing I've taken out of this journey, out of this entire experience, is that the more people you collaborate with, the more opportunities you will discover, and the more chances you will have to grow, which means the more things you can offer the people around you. Constantly fine-tuning, constantly trying new things, constantly talking with new people to gain a better focus. Work with people. Talk to people. If you treat people well, they're going to do the same thing for you. Look for people with diversity in skills, people who are different from yourselves, people who have different knowledge, different experiences, and don't be afraid to offer your own. Take care of each other, and other people will also take care of you. I'm going to open this up now for any questions you may have. I know that was a little long-winded. We got through there. After we do some questions, I'm going to give everybody the opportunity to come over and see some of the things we're doing with hospice clients, see some of the things we're doing in VR, and show you relaxation techniques and games if you like. Are there questions? Yes?
That was a great story. How long is the time duration? Is that 10 years?
We started in about 2015, opened as an arcade, a general arcade, not really an arcade, in 2017. I purchased it in December 2017, and opened it up officially as an arcade, and we've been running since January of 2018 till now. So about a 4-year process for me, 3.5 years, 4 years for me, 5 years plus for Jeff. I mean, he had to get his degree and all that other stuff, so we've been working on this for a long time. Other questions? Yes, sir?
Because obviously he wants to get everybody in the headset.
Yes, there are parts of it that I believe are going to happen. There are parts of it I do not like and I do not agree with. I do not agree with companies trying to take control of user information. I don't like that. I don't like Oculus forcing people to lock to Facebook. There have been a lot of countries around the world that said, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's in courts. It's being chased everywhere. So what are they going to do? They're going to change their name. It's not going to be Oculus anymore. It's going to be Meta. And Meta is going to offer people new access to the metaverse. The metaverse is a really cool idea. The idea, if you don't know, is a lot like the internet in the early stages. Everybody will have access to information all around them with no controls, no stopping. Anybody can add content, allow the metaverse to grow, and it should open up a whole new world of possibilities. If somebody decides to take control of that, that limits everybody. You now have whatever their beliefs are, whatever their focuses are. They take whatever data you want from, or whatever data they want from you, they've got. The headsets now can get your eyes tracked. They can take a look inside your eyes. There's a contact lens you can actually put in that they've created that is now powered. Just a couple of weeks ago, they got this powered where you can look at patients and see their name, their patient data, just by looking at them. Great skill for doctors. But if that information is out there for everybody, if somebody is controlling it, Mr. Zuckerberg, a company, corporation, whoever it may be, not a fan. I don't like it. Information should be shared. You should work together, not controlled, in my opinion. Other questions? Quiet group, this was easy. Yes.
Do you think your business now that the pandemic has opened up slightly, it's not over, do you see that as taking a long time to be back to where you want to be, or
it is.
are you with that?
We're not back to where we were in early 2019. We're just not there yet. I had the advantage of being ready to expand, so I was able to use some of those funds to keep my business running and getting some help from the government. They say they offer a lot. It's not as easy as they make it sound. Yes?
Do you guys do anything on like the subscription side for memberships? I haven't been in there in a while.
We did. When I first opened up, I tried memberships. I had 2 takers. I was doing $99 a month unlimited, as much as you wanted to play, as much as you wanted to do. 2 people were in. I couldn't believe that we couldn't get people in even with membership, so we haven't done it since then. So we do run a discount card. 4 times in, your 5th one's free. So close to a membership, giving some people free time and the ability to grow, but I always hated those punch cards. You got to get 20 of them to get in, and I'd lose them and forget them, and it was a pain. So made it easy, 4 and you're done. Other questions? Yes?
Have you been working with content creators much, or is it mostly experience?
Less content creators recently. We had this really strange issue that people probably never even think about. We're a business, so we're a commercial enterprise. And as a commercial enterprise, we have different pay options and scheduling and things for the software that we use. We can't just buy a program once for $20 and use it forever because we're generating income off of it, so we have to work with the software developers. So in the beginning, we were on the phone with them all the time, and we heard crazy things. Like I wanted to get a race station into my VR arcade. Cool, I'll call this race company. They're great, I really like them. I called them up, finally got through to the top guy, and they said, yeah, we can do that. We'll definitely do that. It's gonna be $12,000 a station per year. And I went, I'm sorry, I can't justify that and I can't afford that. Well, that's what it is, otherwise you don't get our product. So I called their competitors. The competitors are like, yeah, we can do it for $10,000 lifetime membership for the product per station. Okay, well, I can't do that either. So I gave up on the racing side of things for a couple of weeks until they called me back. The first one called me back and said, well, maybe we were thinking a little out of the ballpark. How about we do it at $1,000 a month? And I'm Like I still can't make my money back in that, in the way that things are running now. I will never recoup that cost. I'm sorry. So we worked with different companies. Springboard VR is one of the ones I mentioned at the beginning we were working with all along the way. We were able to get most VR developers, content creators, to work with a per minute pricing situation where we were only paying if the product was being used. Some of my content is paid per month. Some of it is bought outright, where we've paid for all of it. We have all the rights and we control it all. And some of it is paid on a per minute basis, depending on the companies that we're working with. A lot of detail, I know. I don't know if you needed that much information, but all kinds of challenges. I never spent so much time on my phone. It's like working in a call center. We're just talking to everybody we could to get as much information we could and work out all these strange details. Are there other questions for me?
Do you ever worry about like security if you were, I don't know, like people, you mentioned you share a lot of your business secrets and things, but are you worried about some competition causing you problems?
I wasn't in the beginning because there's nobody around and nobody's going to come out to the UP and try and open an arcade when they're not generating business, right? They're in Chicago, they're in LA, they're in big cities. They're trying to put them in airports where you have tons of people with disposable income. So I wasn't worried about it, but I did make a mistake. And a couple of years ago, a gentleman came in and he was asking all kinds of questions, saying he was working out of Illinois, I think. I said, okay, cool, great. And then he ended up opening a shop in Houghton. I don't know if that shop is open anymore. COVID killed a lot of the arcades. And with the content he was offering, I can't imagine that he survived that. It was a father and son business. Seemed like a nice enough guy, but sharing that information can get you into trouble. Well, please feel free with the questions. Come up and talk to me. Come up and check out some of this equipment. Grab a discount card. Learn more about us. And anybody who wants to, take some time. Let's put you in the headset. We got about 10 minutes, it looks like, here before your next session starts. The forum is open.